A new Washington Post poll had this question, quote, Trump posting, "I don't want a pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Do you have a positive or negative reaction?" And 57% said they had a negative reaction to that. That percent would have skyrocketed well into the 80s or more if the Washington Post poll had just pointed out, as the Pope has done, that Donald Trump is lying when he says that the Pope thinks it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. What if the polling question said, what do you think about Donald Trump lying about the Pope saying that? It is entirely possible that most of the people in the Washington Post poll don't know that the Pope has never said that it's okay for Iran or any country to have a nuclear weapon. And so Pope Leo this week had to take it upon himself to, in effect, call Donald Trump a liar, point out Donald Trump's lie, saying, quote, "If someone wants to criticize me for proclaiming the gospel, let him do so truthfully. The church for years has spoken against all nuclear weapons. So there's no doubt there." Donald Trump's war with the Pope is a trap of his own making. It is a trap that comes from one of Donald Trump's most reliable character flaws, his publicly stated belief that if anyone ever criticizes you or criticizes something you are involved in, like, say, your war with Iran, you must attack that person, no matter who that person is. That is a Trump principle. No person too small for Donald Trump to attack. No person too big for Donald Trump to attack. No person too apolitical, like the Pope, for Donald Trump to attack. And so now Donald Trump is trapped in himself, with his own voters now able to see finally sparks of who he really is, how deeply, deeply perverse he really is. The Washington Post poll shows that 87% of Americans have a negative view of this, depicting what the Washington Post poll called, quote, an image appearing to depict himself as Jesus. 87% have a negative view of that. But the most important number in that poll is that 80% of the people who voted for Donald Trump in 2024 have a negative view of Donald Trump depicting himself as Jesus Christ. 80% of Donald Trump's most recent voters see Donald Trump in that image the same way that we do, the same way any sane, decent person would see Donald Trump in that sick image. No opponent of Donald Trump has been able to get Trump voters to see Donald Trump negatively. But the person who broke through, the person who got 80% of Trump voters to have a negative reaction to Donald Trump was Donald Trump himself. Because Trump traps himself.